How's it going, my fellow Uber and delivery drivers and anybody wanting to learn? Welcome back to the Driverman channel. I'm your man, Jose. I had covered this a little earlier tonight in a live stream, but now that some more news articles have popped up in the recent hours, I wanted to update and provide a little bit more in-depth information in regards to the fact that this bill has officially passed through the Senate. So, the Senate passed 29-11. It now just needs to go through the assembly, which they're calling a formality. So supposedly it should just pass through just fine, and then the governor will sign it, and then it's good to go, and will take effect on January 1st. Will that go as smoothly as what they're saying? I'm not an expert on law and procedures, so I don't know. I'm not going to try to attempt to justify that. All I'm going to say is, I guess we will see. I will assume that it goes through because he had promised, the governor had promised to sign the bill, so that should occur. Now, Uber and Lyft, of course, are saying that they're not done fighting it. Uber hasn't really commented since the passing. Lyft said that they were disappointed, but them and DoorDash, the three companies together, pledged $30 million each, $90 million total, to continue combating this bill. Now, they are trying to get lawmakers to consider a separate bill to where they can be exempt from AB5. So even, assuming everything just goes through like we're expecting it to, with the governor signing it, and then it becomes a law on January 1st, they're hoping to get a separate bill, which will become a separate law, for them specifically, Uber and Lyft and, other gig companies, so that they can be exempt from that law. So there's laws, and then there's, exemptions from laws that, Uber and Lyft are going to try to take advantage of. So that's one thing that's happening. I personally, I like being able to just work whenever the heck I want. I'm a little concerned about losing that. Aside from that, I'm not really too worried. I mean, getting vacation pay and unemployment insurance and things like that is great. I just don't want to have to be scheduled in advance and have to adhere to it. And if I don't show up for my shift or whatever, then I get fired, as opposed to, just lowering my acceptance rate and, having, less priority for blocks and things like that. Like, for example, like with Grubhub. Uber and Lyft did warn that they would have to schedule drivers in advance if this bill passes. However, the legislators are saying, hey, you know what, there's nothing in the law that says that you're required to make a set schedule for them or to give them the freedom to set their own schedule. But they're saying they might have to reduce, the number of drivers on the road in smaller markets or during slow periods, which would reduce that need for drivers overall. But there's a college professor who stated it's still advantageous for you to provide incentives for drivers, even though they're employees now, to make sure that there's enough of them on the road, as opposed to just sticking and relying on the drivers that you have scheduled. So ultimately, that'll be up to Uber and Lyft and their wacky, crazy, ways of doing things. They're obviously not ethical companies. They're going to be looking out for themselves at the end of the day, just like they have been for several years, which is why this bill has happened. And so we will see, they will do whatever is best for them, obviously. We all know that. Uber and Lyft have claimed that, it's going to ruin their business, that it could ruin their business, which, ultimately their business model, which relies on low-cost labor and, paying the drivers poo-poo, is definitely threatened by this, because then they can't, continue growing into the behemoths that they have become. This bill's been a long time coming. For years, regulators have been trying to use state laws to identify these workers as employees. The problem is, there have also been other state laws that have explicitly deemed them as contractors, and that's been the problem. Recently, however, federal proposals have been looking to redefine that these workers are classified in order to allow them to unionize. And so because of those pushes, now look where we're at. And so we're going to see what happens, Let's find out what happens. Let's see how this affects things. Let's see if Uber gets their own separate bill. or if they don't, let's see if they, decide to leave California. There's so many questions, and we're going to find out. I'm going to keep you guys posted. Hit that red subscribe button and ring that bell so that you know when I come out with a new video. I will keep you updated on this matter, and you guys have a fantastic weekend.